back, and I was just dancing to that Timaya song. I remember, I can't remember where I was safe, but I shall know that this song, it was one of the songs I love to listen to at that time when it came out. So yeah, good. Now, hey, imagine now we're calling all those ones old school. So the songs we're listening to now, our children will come and start calling it old school. Even with our complaining on the kind of songs that we listen to now. Imagine what our children will now be listening to. And then this ones, they'll be calling it old school. This life, Sha. All right, it's all good. Let's get to hear from Susan. How are you, Susan? How you day? How's today started up for you? It's Thursday already.
Good morning, Rose. Good morning, HerLens family. Good morning, Omorige. It's a beautiful Thursday morning here in the city of Abuja, and yes, I'm doing great. I was just nodding to the song as well, and I was like, to imagine that this song that was the rave of the moment is now in the past, life. Well, everything is
Hmm.
in phases, but we'll be fine, Sha.
Fine. We will be fine. All right. So yes, it's good to hear from you, Susan. So our lost but found Megan. Sure. You're welcome to Holland. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm found. I'm not lost though. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't lose
Yes, I don't
myself.
see you now. I mean, Susan, what are you going to tell her like this? See you for a couple of weeks. Well, it's good to have you join us this morning on
Thank
Holland.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so Buki has been, really busy this week, and she sent a message that she won't be able to join us this morning. Hopefully we get to have it been. But so yesterday was the burial of um ah, I'm trying to look for the perfect word now to describe him. Was the burial of the husband of Madame Florence of Laojo Birin. So I was there, and I know that Buki was swamped with activities for that burial, and she also had trainings too. So when she called me in the afternoon saying, "Oh, I didn't get to see you," so I said, "I'm like, yeah, I looked out for you too," but she said, "Oh, she was in the training before she came for the burial." So I think when she came, I'd already left, and you could hear a lot of good testimonies about Papa, um, Amao. So it's I would say it was good. It's good for one to attend some of these kinds of functions, even if they are sad ones, because it just gives you a better perspective of life, how to live your life. Because going through some of the tribute written, you could see that he was a peaceful person. He people came to him to solve their issues, and he actually achieved quite a lot. So a lot of good things to say about him. Most importantly, he was somebody who feared God, somebody who just wanted to see people around him do better, and he was very accommodating. And that's the kind of things I think we should be able to get when we get to such functions, especially if they're sad ones. All right, so yes, may the soul of Papa Mao continue to rest in peace, and please put Madam Florence in your prayers as you continue to as we continue our everyday lives. She was once part of HerLens, that's formerly Panorama. She was part of it before she started Lao Jubirin, and that was like different times. So HerLens in the morning, Lao Jubirin later in the afternoon. So we just said she should just concentrate on Lao Jubirin, and that's how she left the Panorama. But she started all with the ladies of Panorama then before we changed it to HerLens. So, and that's why we are bringing this up here. All right, so let's head on to the very first topic for today. Do you want to join us? Send us WhatsApp message to 07031756537 or 08155917917. So let's start with the issue of bullying. We don't dey talk this bullying since, but it's still happening. It's still a recurring thing, to the extent that boarding schools are becoming a threat. Let's say not a threat. Boarding schools are becoming scary. I went to a boarding school. A lot of my age mates went to boarding school. Yeah, we know we did face some of the bullying, and we did face the bullying, sha. But in my school, when you can't reach our turn, our principal can say anybody that is called bullying another person. When you reach our turn, the thing pain us because we received it, So, but um, it's not getting out of hand as it is. It's not getting out of hand. But my own experience didn't make me say that, oh, my children would not go to a boarding school. But what I'm hearing now is actually making me make that decision. And I know a lot of parents who have said their children will not smell a boarding school. But even at that, even uh, um, moving boarding school from the equation, you still have this happening in day schools. You still have it happening in day schools. So what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this issue of bullying? Because as it is right now, a family in Ikot Ikpene, all right, are mourning the death of their 12-year-old son. All right. And this is because the young boy was bullied in a junior secondary school. This happened in the federal government college in Ikot Ikpene in Akwa Ibom State. And as it is, the boy died on Easter Sunday. Now, this was after he was allegedly hit in the school hostel by a senior student in senior secondary 3, that's SS3. So apparently the senior called him and told him to bring his provisions during the exam period. And the boy said, no, I don't even have enough to get me through the term, so I'm sorry, I won't be able to share my provisions with you. And that got the senior student angry, after insisting, but that got the senior student angry, and before you know it, the senior student hit him on the neck. Now the boy became unconscious. After taken to the hospital, in the school, he was taken to the hospital. He regained his consciousness in the hospital and was taken back to school. So they didn't inform the parents. They didn't even tell the parents this was what happened. But since he came back, he was okay. He went back to school. Now during the Easter holiday, yeah, just during his Easter holiday, when the parents came to pick him, they didn't tell them anything. No. During the holiday, the boy developed severe pains on the neck, and his parents just bought him, pain relief, medication, and all of that. But the thing got worse. The father took him to the hospital, and that is where the boy died. And later on, the hospital confirmed that he died from complications associated with blood clots around his throat. That's around the neck area. Okay, so the father right now, the father, the family, and all are coming out to say that, oh, justice has to be served, and all of that. In fact, from the videos, you could see the grandmother of this 12-year-old boy wailing, crying, speaking in their dialect and all of that. So it's a lot to take in, and these are the issues that come with bullying. Okay, here we talked about Sylvester, is it Omoruyi, or yeah, I can't remember the surname correctly. We talked about Sylvester. Here we talked about what happened in Benin, in Igbenijan Secondary School in Benin. Here we talked about what happened in a school here in Lagos. In fact, we've had series of conversations as regards this. So sometimes I look at bullying, and Susan, and what comes to my mind is how you will see domestic violence where you come back home and be telling your parents, that's that my husband they beat, my husband they beat me. They go sit tell you go back there. Now until you can't go, that's when they realize it. But for here, for the only difference with bullying is that sometimes the parents don't even know anything because the children don't get to devote such information on until it gets to another level entirely before you even get to know that this is what's going on with your child in school. Now, school is supposed to be a safe environment. It should be protected. Every child should feel protected and empowered and should be able to learn. But what do we want to do as regards this bullying case? Because the more we're talking about it, it's like the more it keeps happening. How do we go from here? What do we do? So before you come on, Susan, let's just get to hear from Binabo. Hi, Binabo. How are you today? How is your day starting up?
Good morning. Good
Okay.
morning, Lady Susan, Lady Rachel, and to all our beautiful ladies and gentlemen listening to this program. Sorry, I was wrestling with network. connectivity.
Nigeria is
Rose,
up to you.
because sweat as I was struggling, desperation and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you too, Ibinabo. It's good to have you here. So, Susan, let's start from you on this one. Let's get your thoughts on this because, like I said, it's like the more we're talking about this, the more we're seeing a lot of it. Whether it's because it's social media that is making us see a lot of it now, safe, we don't know, but we are just seeing that in Afarwa it's happening. So, I mean, where do we go from here?
Thank you so much, Rose. First, my heart goes out to the family of the deceased. It's a painful thing. When parents, it's expensive. And I think I need to state that clearly. Sending a child to a boarding school, I was a boarder. My
Mm,
parents were living in Lagos. I was a boarder in Imo State. And I'm glad that you mentioned it, Rose, that yes, we experience, it has always been there. One of the things that helped me when I went to the boarding school was my disability.
mm,
So you do not want to start, I say, when no get leg, how you want to tell her make you kneel down, all those kind. There was that level of pity around other students. Another thing that also helped me was I was intelligent. So when you are intelligent, you are like the little queen among your peers, among
yeah.
your people. They're trying to support you so that when it's time, you will teach them, you will do this and you will do that. But I think there is a systemic problem. Just yesterday, Rose, you were not here, and we were discussing where a woman said she would tell her child also, if you beat back. It was
Mm,
I am man being above here. And we try to with Fumi to dissect, analyze holistically as much as we could, and we had callers calling. Now, there is a systemic problem in the education sector. It should be an SOS at this point. I have looked over the years from one event to the other. Sylvester is just, remember the guy from one Deeper Life school in Akwa
yeah.
Ibom?
Mm-hmm.
His mom went to, it made his mom trend so much. In fact, that thing got stuck in my head. And I am this person who looks, my first instinct is for every action, there's a reaction. What is this action that has prompted this reaction? So I think the Ministry of Education, Commissioner of Education, they should look into this and speak to schools. We need to do more. We need to do more. I keep asking, what do we discuss during PTA meeting? Unfortunately, I am passionate about education, but I couldn't continue in that line. I had to leave because I had a whole future ahead of me that I needed to explore. So I had to leave teaching. But even at that, I'm not a minister, I'm not a commission. We need to address these things because these are things that we can manage. Who are these bullies? Are they not students of the same school? Like you said, you experienced it, so you were like, when you reach our turn, you got your time, the principal. That is why we have leadership in every space. We have HODs, we have VP academics, we have different stratas in educational system. So we shouldn't be battling with all of these things if we address these things as it should. Why do we have to allow students who are bullies to continue to bully other students? And then the school system, what are we even doing? Because you want to protect the name of your school. A child is hit and he loses consciousness. Just yesterday, I still said it when I was speaking. Our sick bays, I have been a teacher for years.
Yeah.
Our sick bays, we have limits to what we can do within the sick bay. Mami Binabo is here. There are things you cannot administer at the sick bay, at school
Mm,
level. So they could only do what they could do for resuscitation. Even if they did not feel the need to call these parents. And I'm saying this because I'm hot. A child is lost here. And look at the grandma. Look at that grandma wailing. Will any Easter on earth ever be the same for this family, no matter how many years later? Just imagine it. Now, you felt you didn't want to reach them, and you didn't take them out of the school bay to a proper school to find out. Children, even me, will be Susan at my age. If you don't know, even me, I sleep on my bed sometimes and I wake up and I have pain in my body. Now you are hitting a child at the neck. Is the provision meant for two? Why?
Exactly.
Who are raising this kind of people? And then I do not want to totally blame parents, because again, parents raise children, but when they mingle with their peers, I have seen that happen firsthand. When they mingle with certain set of students, they become unbearable. They want to show that they have arrived. You've heard it. It's unnecessary. So it's about leaving the school. His shoulder pad is like this. I must show them. I must do them. That era has to stop, because it is spoiling the education. Look at a parent paying fees, doing everything to send a child to school. And at the end of the day, the same reason for which you sweat to send that child to school is the reason why you lose that child. 12 years, not be 12 days. 12 years, not be 12 days. And sending a child to a boarding school is not child's play. What is the way forward? For me, Susan, the way forward would be, there's an emergency in the educational system. Let there be meeting. Principals are on holiday, VP academics, HODs, all the different leadership levels in school should step up their game. This is not, this is not a time to cover. You are the ones shaping life, shaping futures. Do you want us to start to believe that you are not death straps? My parents sent me to my state and they were living in Lagos. Why? They needed me to, learn our language. They believed it will also help me with independence as a young girl with a disability when I live in the boarding house. Many people were against it, but they said, no, it will help her to be independent. It will help her to learn our dialect and all of that, because of course I was born in the north and I had to go to the east to school. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with the boarding school. But I think that the leadership at all levels need to have an emergency meeting as they are resuming. They need an emergency meeting, and these things need to be addressed. Any child that is caught bullying any child does not have a place in that school. Now, you want to stay in that school and continue and finish your own, but another person has lost their own child. When has it become a do or die affair that someone must give you their provision? I know it's been happening, but do you know the level of heating that will cause blood clots? Bleeding internally. My dad had accidents 2 to 3 years ago, and over. I know how much we have spent. My dad still goes to Bagada General Hospital. Why? After that accident, he was just standing at the bus stop, and an ongoing vehicle at Ogudu, where we live, came and cleared my dad and some other people. I'm glad I didn't lose him. His head cut open at his age. My dad is above 70. But you know the irony? I am saying this for learning purposes. It was his head. But you know what happened? My dad's legs started swelling. He had blood clotting in his leg. But look at where we saw. We had to rush him back. In fact, the day he was rushed back to emergency, I was to leave for the US. They didn't tell me because they didn't want my mood to be spoiled. But I was at the airport, and one instinct just said, send money. I'm the first child. I just sent money to their account to say, in case if he needs medication, they should keep buying. I was aware he had an accident, but I didn't know there was an emergency. It was after I came back from the US that they did tell me that he had to be rushed. Even as I went back to Lagos and he had a stroke scare, that leg, they are still managing it till date. This is years after. Hitting somebody, you don't know. Yesterday, Mami Binabo raised the issue of safe zones. There are places you don't need to hit children. There are places, look, hitting, why? That child has a hand. Even though I am not supporting that you should beat a child for, Rose, I can go on and on and on, but the bottom line is this. You don't know what will affect a body part when you hit another body part. My dad is a living witness. We had to buy socks and everything. Over and over, he would go for checkup. They will ask us to change that socks. We kept buying, we kept changing. And this is because we knew. Look at the
Mm.
parents. Cost
Who
you
did not?
a teaching time, they say saves 9. Who knows if you had called the parents in to please take this child for a proper checkup, this child would have been rescued. Why do schools do these things that they do when we know that our sick bays are not 100% equipped? They are just for minor things, because we do not also want to give medications. And tomorrow parents will say, oh, it's the medication they gave in school that caused A, B, C. That is why there is a limit to what the sick bay gives. Why didn't you call in the parents? Why didn't you open up when they came? These are the things. Because if all of this had been put in place, we would not be where we are. We would not lose that child. And this is a new term coming up. We do not want to keep coming here on HerLens, speaking for something we knew that could be effectively managed. We don't need to keep losing children because they go to school. Do you want people to say, oh, instead of that, let my child kuku sit down at home? Let me not send them to school. Since if I send them to school, nobody monitors, nobody takes care of them. Please, schools, you need to do better, because this is solely a problem from the school. Fellow students raised alarm, and the school was aware that this child was unconscious. Why didn't you reach out to? I would not blame anything on the parents who did not have prior knowledge. If they did, even at the time when this child complained, instead of going to buy pain relief, they would have rushed him to the hospital. Who knows? It would have been better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for pointing out, a lot of things. You just can never know when things will go wrong. And that's just it. And maybe this bully person self has been doing this to a lot of other kids and nothing happened. And then he just touched this young, 12-year-old. And unfortunately for him, Nadia won't take, end. So it calls for a lot of attention, because the frequency at which we get to hear about these things, see these things, imagine the ones we don't hear. Imagine what's going on in other secondary schools. So if your child is a junior right now, you're already scared. You're just one, you're going back to school. I hope you know everything. So now my picking go, I go tell them bye bye, go boarding house. I don't know whether I go come back. I mean, go come back. Is that where we are heading to? All right, this is your Women Radio WFM 91.7. Let's get to hear from you this morning. 07000 917 917 09155 917 917. Or do well to send your messages to 070 317 56537 or 08155 917 917. All right, Rachel, let's get to hear your thoughts as regards this. How do you what's the way forward, from your point of view as regards to the series, of cases of bullying we have been, talking about here, and for this 12-year-old, boy who has lost his life, again, on the issue of bullying in school.
Well, firstly, let me greet everyone. Good morning, Lady Unabo. Good morning, Lady Susan. How's everyone doing? My condolences to the family of the
All
boy.
right, just
I
hold
think
on
it's
1
sad
minute.
event
Let's take
to
this call, Rachel.
okay,
Yeah.
call. Okay.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Mrs. Oboli. You're welcome to HerLens.
But you were really kind of you. She took pictures of my picture like this, like that. And that is they remember her name at 45. So you go understand that kind of thing. I can sleep, and once you tap me, I'll just mention her name off of the top of my head. You can imagine what that really means. So I'm asking myself that at what point did we drop the ball? At what point did we allow this negligence creeping so much that we dropped the ball and we lost the truth. Why we don't bring it out is because they are trying to protect the image of the school. And I feel if we, the health the child in question as priority because something alternative for born in economics. If you pay the child, you prioritize the child's health first. Who's thinking about your school? Let's check the trajectory now. In this case and a couple of other cases, peer pressure, no peer pressure. If the child needs an amount of time, this will not be on the school. But they don't need to be on the newspaper tablet. Our school is to happen, and we protect the image of the school. And we go to sick days in my school. Waiting they there, nothing. If they don't accept it. So whatever it is you want to dispense to the child, what the child is the suffice for the 4 years of the hospital. They will have dictated that blood flow because of the provisions. If you go to taking provisions, what are taking the job? Taking contentment from the house spaces. Entirely on the parents. Some speaking when they reach school, they say and say, peer pressure being them to go to the and this child is the next stage. The next stage. So that speaking when you're getting out of graduate at the end of the day. So I believe charity begins at home. The mother and father would have instilled a couple of lessons into it. You are a senior. I saw at the end of my own school. But I'm just saying that holistically, let's start thinking of people's health first. I'm not protecting your image and damage control now by the school. So we should be shouting for. Incidents, schools, this kind of things should be of course, and in most of cases, we don't know what happened. Just because society, and it has been, just say, not be picking, this is not picking, not be talking to die, not be taking that, now human being die. So if some people are and held to account this kind of anomalies, this kind of misdemeanors stop happening. And I'm still saying because I promise you, very soon we'll talk about this. We'll get elective amnesia, we'll only get to things. Want to hear the time we are raising this issue again that the school has been scapegoated and this is the penalty they got. If schools are not penalized for unscrupulous happenings like this, it will consistently go unabated. That is what I have to say. Because they pain me as a mother, as a sister, as a brother, as a person, that something has to go again. But go judge your permission with you for also, you will ask yourself, say, should you also take your children to the hospital? It's not as if the body facility is bad. What we have seen in the past, it's no longer there. No checks and balancing. Who they check who? Yes. About death from insurgency, now we're talking about death from violence one way or the other. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Bro, thank you.
Right.
Thank you. It depends me, but I don't remember what happened to me too.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Obali, for calling and giving us your it was quite emotional, your thought on this, and also looking at a lot of the past cases that we've had and how this is actually eating deep into our society. All right, Rachel, go ahead. Let's get to hear you quickly, and then
Okay.
we'll wrap this up for us.
As I was saying, condolences to the boy's family. It's actually a very sad event that happened. For me, the way forward, first of all, I'm not a fan of boarding school. I went to a day school. If anything happened to me like this, I'm going to tell my mom and my dad straight the hours after I leave school. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting for holidays. At least, even if we had holidays, we know we at least we are going back to our parents. I think the problem is that a lot of parents don't have strong communication system with their children. Whereby even if they are hot, they can't really openly, freely express themselves that okay, mom, this is what happened to me in school. That's one. Two, I think that sick bills, that's hospitals, they actually need to do better and have maybe like facilities and equipment, even like medical attention, should be how level it now should be at easy reach for students. Another thing too, I'm very scared with the way our generation is going because what is happening to the children? That you would hit someone to the extent that someone would die. Even the Igbenidion home that happened, I brutally saw that boy was being beaten. What children are we raising of nowadays? I feel like there needs to be strict consequences for bullying. I don't think the consequences are strict enough. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Let me also commiserate with the family of this little boy that it's only God that can console them because when you have a healthy child and suddenly you've lost this child, it's like a nightmare and you don't know how to come out of it. It is painful. I don't know what to say. I just know that it's only God that can console them. Having said that, I'm feeling so bad this morning. We are tired of these stories. I listened keenly to my two ladies, Lady Susan, Lady Rachel, even Mrs. Oboli. I got some parts. I didn't quite get the initial submission, but the later part I got. See, there is something that we say jokingly in Yoruba language. They say, "Ìlú tí ò bá sí òfin kò sí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀." Where there are no laws, there are no, you can't find offenders because it takes somebody to have broken the law to be an, to be an offender. What am I saying? Yes, we have laws, but if laws are not enforced, they are as good as not been there. We have had one too many stories in the corridor of bullying in schools, children eventually dying, and then schools will come out to give silly excuses, trying to exonerate themselves from these painful activities. See, I know the governor now. If I be governor, then go don't stop. For my state, you know, go here. Because I'll be closing down schools. When you hold the owners of schools responsible, they will know how to enforce some rules in their schools. You don't, I put my children in your care. You stand as local parents to my children. You take the responsibility of a parent. See, Rachel, me with you, we are on the same page. Bang, bang.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
That school, boarding school, I don't want. Tell me that I should enroll my child, that it is free. And probably the school fees is 3 million, but for you it is free. I don't want. Fair. Keep your school to yourself. I don't like to live a life whereby I'm always apprehensive of my child's safety. I don't want. And these things, they not just start now. I used to have some friends those days. We used to attend some summer classes together. Now, wait till network they show me be that, so we go carry that card and then not follow me. Okay, am I better now? Is it better now? Is it better now? Can you hear me now? Okay, so what I'm saying is this: if you can't hear me, please let me. I'll not just be stressing myself and then nobody's hearing what I'm saying. Governors should rise to the occasion. Begin to close down schools. If a school does not have the capacity to secure children in boarding houses, don't run a day boarding school. It is not compulsory that because they know that parents will pay more when it is a boarding house, when they have boarding school. Please, any school, even this one that is a government school, the principal and those people who are supposed to oversee those housemasters and housemistresses should be held responsible. A child was hit in the neck. The neck is about the most fragile part of the body. It does not have bone like that. It has soft bones. So any injury to the neck, I mean, your life is at huge risk. So when would a child be hit by a senior and then the child fainted and you handled everything and you did your best to sweep it under the carpet until this led to the loss of this child? The principal, everyone who has an idea of what happened to that boy in school should be held responsible. You are all murderers. My proxy, I don't know how they call it as lawyers. You are all murderers. You have all slaughtered this boy, and you should take responsibility. And that senior who was involved should be dealt with. You see, for me, even as an educationist, because of what we see happening in boarding houses, for me, I don't even have the liver. I don't get the kidney. I don't get the heart to enroll my child in the boarding house. I cannot do it. Because there was a time my children were in boarding schools. I used to travel a lot there. So we had to put my youngest children in boarding house. So there was a day they had an open day. Okay, so I was around. And my boy ran to me when he saw me. So while we were taking a walk around the school to go to the hall where they had the open day and all of that. Because after the open day, then they will have the big hall where parents will bring food. You know, you eat together with the children. Some other children can join you to eat your food if they like it. Your child's friend can join you. Your child can join his friend's friends and all of that. So while we were walking around this, I was actually looking for my older son. We were walking around the school, and some seniors were calling my boy, hey, these are calling his name. He didn't answer them. He was just frowning. I said, what's wrong with you? I will soon leave you. You'll be left with them. Yeah, this shakara because you have seen me. My son said, Mommy, don't mind them. He now said, see that senior, that one, a particular senior was, he had a cardigan on. He said, that one that had the cardigan, don't mind him. Mommy, you see that, do you know that last week, well, I think they had an evening, whatever, in the hall, and the teachers were supposed to lead them back to their rooms. He said, two of the seniors stayed back, a boy and a girl, and they were trying to make out in the school field and they were caught. So it was the boy that was now trying to call him. So he said, all those boys, I can't answer him. He was caught with a girl. I can't answer. I said, baby. If I mention the name of the school, it's a faith-based school. School where we say, parents, we are not good parents. Because me, it's either I made my hair, I have my makeup on, I go wear my trousers, I go do shakara small, I go do shakara, I can't help it. People like me, I'm like a bad influence to children. This is a school where some parents, some of them in the name of being religious, they don't even brush the front of their hair well, still go rough. Like say, my no back for house. And if you see the car, they will drive to the school. Heavy duty. And then they will look very, very unkempt. This is the kind of school where when you make certain hairstyle for your child, you say, this is too loud. Don't let children, you don't raise your children well. That is the kind of school. We don't have many of such schools in Lagos, but one of those schools was where this thing happened. So you can imagine, after that term, I withdrew my children from boarding to day school. I said, this time around, somebody must be at home to receive my children. I cannot let somebody introduce something to my children. And another friend of mine, imagine me in my time, another friend of mine who was in boarding school, he told us, he said, it was always like, He complained so much. He was always looking out, always checking his student. So it was like, Oga, now woman do like this. What's it gonna be your own? He said, look, he attended a boarding school in Ekpe so many years back. As a junior student, giving to him was a very, even as a daddy, he's still a very good looking man. He was said he was crime to find because he was a good looking boy. He said the seniors were on him trying to sodomize him. In second, they want to sodomize this small boy. He said each time he got home, he didn't know to explain it because he was feeling embarrassed to tell his parents and see what they do in my school. So then he didn't want to go back to school. He didn't like that school. They should change that school. The father would say, because your mommy and your papa, so want to stay at home and eat and eat and eat. They didn't understand. And he didn't want to tell them. So this goes to say that parents should subpedal, please. Be calming down. Allow your children to have the audacity to discuss anything with you. Any topic, whatever. If I wasn't that kind of parent, my child wouldn't have the mind to tell me that 2 students were trying to sense behind the school building. But me, we will sit on the floor and gist. I used to do erepa, you know what they call erepa, and off play with my children. Sometimes we will have night party. Night party is what? In the evening, we'll switch off the light and be playing music, weekend, and we'll be dancing. I'll go and buy stuffs from the eatery and we'll eat. That's our night party. But mommy, I'm not having night party this weekend. That was how I've been, and I am like that with my children. So whatever it is, they will tell me. They will do a proco, they will tell me. And anyone that parents, stop doing gigong, stop being too stiff, that your children cannot come to you and tell you some things. And then parents should always, if you're going to send a child to boarding house, stop pretending as if you don't know what is happening there. Open their eyes and their mind to what could happen, so that they are always they won't let down their guard when such is approaching. Parents don't tell their children what to expect in boarding house. They will just make you feel all is well. It's a place where you can take it. It is not true. I know there are some good schools where the boarding house is a place that you can groom, your child will be properly groomed. But honestly, with these stories from when I was a little girl, now I'm a mommy, and the story still goes on. That means that there is no change. There has been no toning down of this nonsense. So government should begin to look into schools. Any school, see, like that Sylvester Romani school. For me, they told that school for 2 years. Let the parents of these children take them to other schools to serve as a deterrent to other schools. Because if no punishment is meted out to these school owners, they wouldn't be bothered. Their interest will be based solely on school fees. If I expel this child now, the father is supposed to pay 3 million. He will not pay. This was supposed to pay 500,000. I will be losing. How do I pay your teachers? How have you been paying your teachers? Have you been to all these schools? All the national schools, their school fees go large, the salaries go thin. The salaries, if you look into salaries of some schools, they are not commensurate with the standard of the school. They pay like you are teaching in one mushroom school. They'll tell you, I have to pay. I got a loan from somewhere. I have to do this. See, school business is not something you get your profit or you gain in a short time. It's a long-term thing. And people who should establish schools are people who have compassion for children and who love academics, who love to raise good children, and who are ready to put in the work to raise these children. Not that you just want to make business. You have money, you can buy land in one eyebrow area, you have money to build, and then you want to run a school. Please, government into this. They need to begin to extend the punishment above and beyond the students, even to the schools, depending on the story. If the story is in a way that the school has been indicted, they should be punished. Stop letting schools off this. The life of every child matters. I cannot send my child to school and then expect someone to bring, God forbid, a corpse back. God forbid it. What nonsense is this? Do you know what it means to lose a child? Do you even know the? It's not as if he was ill for a while and he died. It's not as if the parents were aware. Do you know the guilt that will kill these parents? That sometimes they'll begin to blame themselves. Maybe if I had asked him, maybe if I had Kekinikon, maybe if I had visited him at that time, maybe I would have known. Maybe they'll use maybe to kill themselves. They'll use maybe to go into depression. Keep doing this. These are preventable issues, preventable deaths. We can't have it. Governors will ask you, okay, you are a governor, you have a commissioner for education. They should handle these things not with kid gloves. They should slap the law on these schools so that you know that when you are going to have a boarding house in your school, then you must put enough security in place. How many? Sometimes in a whole building, you have reached 2 people, one man, one woman, overseeing the children. Are they magicians? Are they flash? They at the same time. It's not possible. Please. It's devastating. It's frustrating. Losing a child is like you are dead already. What is it? Please. We want government to go into this, because if you don't wait into this thing, it will go on. We have been telling this with, I mean, like lady, my lady Susan said, we talked about bullying, and a parent was, she would teach her child to be a hit master. You should give me one, like they say, one blow, one apple. You give me one blow, I give you 2 blows and 1 apple on top. You know, that kind of a thing. We can't live like that. We can't be raising barbarians in the name of protecting ourselves. So there has to be discipline in place, and it must be enforced. Thank you very much.